Welcome to Mom Matters. I'm your host, Alyssa Dver, and in the next 10 easy to watch minutes, we're going to give you some really practical things to make parenting more productive. And today, our topic is furry, feathered friend or foe. And of course, I'm wearing my very fake fur for the occasion. We're going to talk about how to make your children safely comfortable around household pets. And joining me is a special guest today, Marci. She's here with us. She's a vet. She's been practicing for 16 years. And for the last several, she's been with the Metro West Veterinary Associates here in Massachusetts. She most impressively, however, has 4 children. Leslie, how old are your kids?
Alyssa, my kids are 9, 7, and I have twin 3-year-olds.
Okay, so forget the fact that you have 4. That's impressive. That's fantastic. Well, thank you for making the time to come see us here.
Absolutely.
You notice we have our friend here. This is Abercrombie. He's my dog. And one of the things that always is amazing to me when kids come to my house here, it could be friends of my own kids or kids of my friends, they walk in, they see him, and granted he's a big dog, but he's a golden retriever and all he wants to do is kiss everyone. But the kids are terrified sometimes. Now, not all kids, but some kids. So what is it that makes kids so scared of pets that are so mushy like this one?
Yeah, it's understandable. Kids are typically right at his level. His face is right in their face.
Sure.
A lot of kids weren't brought up with pets, so they're not sure how this dog is going to react, even though he seems awfully friendly. I think it's mostly because they're face level, and he's got a big bark, so sometimes that can be rather intimidating.
Okay. You have a big bark?
Yeah.
What kind of animals make great pets for kids, particularly if you know that they're shy around animals to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it really depends on what you're looking for. Okay. It depends on your time commitment. It depends on whether you want a pet that's a little bit more independent, like cats are pretty independent, or if you want something that has maybe a little bit more of a bond where you're spending some time together walking a dog, for example. Kids that are particularly afraid of animals, you don't want to look for something that perhaps nibbles or bites, like birds or hamsters. So you would want to stay with something a little bit more on the friendly side. And oftentimes kittens and puppies are very nippy. So if your child is afraid of that, then you would want to avoid that and maybe opt for an older pet.
Okay. Well, here's another thing that just dawned on me when you were talking too, and I'm looking at my pants covered with Abby hair right now, but I know a lot of kids are, and adults for that matter, are allergic to certain kinds of dogs, and there are kinds of dogs that produce non-allergic hair.
That's right.
And
That's
cats
right.
as well.
Yes. Not many cats, but they, so with cats you would want to look for a short-haired cat. And that's pretty much it. I think there is one breed of hairless cats, but for the most part, stay with the short breeds with the cats. And then with dogs, you want to stay with the poodle family, terrier, labradoodles, poodle mixes, and Bijans, which tend to be hypoallergenic breeds.
Excellent. Okay, so let's flip that question then to what kind of animals, dogs, cats, and otherwise, are not so good with kids that might be timid around them?
Yeah, you want to avoid aggressive breeds of dogs, and actually there's a lot of, probably one of the things you should do is research any animal that you're looking into getting. So going to the library, going to a particular website for that breed, talking to breeders, but you would want to avoid maybe birds that have a very dominant personality, or that are on your shoulders or in your, squawking in your ears. You want to avoid aggressive breeds of dogs. And again, maybe really young kittens and puppies that are just going to be chasing and nipping, and they're not trained yet to understand that the child is running in fear rather than playing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Excellent point. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with Leslie, and she's going to teach us about things as parents that we can do both in our homes and with our children to make it a more comfortable environment.
Every parent knows at any crowded venue, just a split-second distraction is all it takes, and without identification, your child is lost. Finally, there's a solution: Wanderwear. T-shirts and child identification tags that give parents peace of mind.
We're back with Leslie Marci. She's going to continue teaching us what we can do to make our kids more comfortably safe around pets. And one thing that I like to ask you personally is, when I have kids come to my house, either my friends' kids or somebody else's kids, like I said, I try and remember to tell them, oh, I have this big dog. But I don't always remember. I don't always remember anything these days as a busy mom. So what can I do when somebody shows up at my house and clearly their child is scared of Abby? What do I do?
Well, the first thing to remember, I think, is that sometimes it's just not going to be a good fit. And so giving the child the option to go home and reschedule a play date for a better time, you need to think of that. Other things that you can do are putting the dog away in a quiet room until the child gets acclimated in the house. Maybe having the dog lay down near where the children are playing, and when all things are settled down and the dog is quiet, having the children go over and pet the dog, or maybe even letting the friend offer your pet a treat. But I think having the situation well controlled will pay off for you.
Okay, great. And what advice do you give parents that are going out to get a new pet for the first time? They're going out to get a dog or a turtle or a fish or something. What can they do so that when they bring that pet home, that the family as well as the animal feels very comfortable?
Well, there's a couple of things you can do. First thing you want to do is, besides researching what type of animal you're getting and that you think would be a good fit for your family, including your kids in the selection process and including them in picking out the bedding or the goldfish bowl.
Okay.
Making sure that the pet has a nice, safe environment to come home to, a crate or a room with a bed. And also that the animal has a place to go to get away from your kids, and teaching your kids to respect that.
Okay, can I teach them to respect that for me too, right? Absolutely. Well, that's really wonderful information. I want to thank you for being with us today on Mom Matters. Please tune into our blog where we have all our previous shows as well as information on our upcoming shows, and our blog address is mom-matters.blogspot.com. Speaking of our future shows, our next show is called Raising Charitable Children, and we're going to speak with an expert who can teach us how we can teach our children how to appreciate the value of charity. So for Mom Matters, I'm Alyssa Dver. Thanks for coming, where we're sharing practical tips on more productive parenting.